I'm trying to beat this idiot at darts, and I needed 24, and I hit 12, and then I hit double 12 to bust. Oh, this show needs to stop now.
Well, we're 12 seconds in, so
I know, and it needs to stop already. Oh my god.
welcome to episode 136 of Ripping the Rack podcast. I be your host, Tim. With me today, he's approximately, I don't know, I'm going to say roughly 300 miles away. He's up north, Mr. Calvin Locke. Calvin, how are you?
I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed right now. I'm trying to beat
We
this
can
guy
tell.
at darts. Oh no. Okay, now I gotta hit an 8. Anyways, hi everybody. Come on, hit the 8.
And the other guy is about a mile and a half or so south. Mr. Coastal Crusader himself. Again, folks, that's a wrestling moniker nickname, not a candlepin bowling nickname.
Isn't it more? I'm more east than south of you.
No, I think no, you wouldn't be east. I'm closer to the water than you are.
Maybe to the lake. I'm closer to the ocean.
Dude, I can see the ocean from my house.
Well, we live on the same pretty much road.
You're further west.
I'm more towards the ocean. Yeah.
Too. I just have to look at a map. I just look at a map and there's the ocean.
Yeah.
Right,
anyway,
guys.
Brian, how are you?
I'm
Time
good.
to do a show. Let's go.
Good. You can move. Go.
Yeah, but I'm the one cutting out.
Now Calvin's cutting out. And I think, no, he's back.
I don't know what's going on, everybody.
I don't either because I just don't know.
Chinese weather balloons.
Definitely Chinese weather balloons.
Yeah. And you know what it is, Tim? That
what?
Damn new license plate.
Yeah.
Getting. God
I like it though.
I have never seen Can we find something else to complain about in the world other than the license plate of our state? I have seen so many immature adults be like, "I'm not getting one." Like, I made a comment on our local thing. I'm like, "Oh God, will someone think of the children with these license plates?"
I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't.
It must be nice when your only care in the world is a license plate.
It's beats the hell out of me. We actually have a lot to talk about, and I found my picture. I found my
What
picture.
It's the
Worlds.
Nice.
We found it. I only wish I had. Almost lost that one. I only wished I had before Charlie passed away that I'd got the whole team to autograph it. That would have been pretty cool. But anywho, we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Calvin, you want to start us off with Canada?
Yeah, I sure can.
It is first alphabetically.
Well, no, we're America.
I don't remember. No, you're United States of America.
No, it's America.
Then it starts with an M and they're still first.
Actually, it's even B.
The America.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's something slow right now, and I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna talk, and if something happens, well, so be it. I don't remember what we talked about the last podcast. I don't remember when the last podcast is, so I'm gonna assume we didn't talk about. I'm gonna assume we didn't talk about the 560.
We did not. We did not have the show.
It had not happened yet.
So let's talk about it.
Okay, so 560 happened. 32 teams, a lot of people in one building. Worse than Worlds.
Yeah.
Worse than Worlds. It was slow as death. It was terrible. Teams
we didn't get out of there
till 11:30 one night.
Yeah.
Why?
10:30, 11.
Well, one lane was a breakdown. There was one lane that was resetting with like pins missing every time. So that match was always the last one done. We weren't done till almost 10 to 11. It was, yeah. But anyways, other than that, it ran nice. Few mistakes on the stats that needed to be corrected, but it's to be expected if you're putting in a number and maybe you miss an enter button or something. So that was other things. But other than that, 50-50s were insane. 50-50s were minimum $550 every round.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest one I think it was like the second last round or the last round Saturday night was $746. So you basically made more money winning the 50-50 than you did winning the tournament.
Wow.
So yeah, pretty crazy. But we had 4 divisions. I remember watching a lot of really tight races. 3 divisions, or 2 divisions, 2 points separated the last playoff teams. Another division was 4, and the other division was 6. And one division, 3 teams tied for the bye. So one team got in by pinfall. Another division, 1 team got in by 1. So the very first division was Who's Next, Bayers Road, and Beers and the Boys. They were 46, 46, 46. All 46 points in that division, and 4th place was That's How We Roll at 40. So 6 points going in, into the last match. Crazy finishes. Division 2 was Saber Zone at 50, JD's Seamless Gutter Balls at 47, and the Setbacks at 44. And then Clayton Matheson's team was at 42 in that division. So 2 points there. Yeah. Lori with 5 guys. Yeah. That was the team that got the first in the other division. And they only beat the Fairview Avengers by 1 point for the bye. Scott's Woodworkings was 48, and Dom Drake was 46. So again, another just missed it by 2 points. Like, you can always go back and look and find 2 points somewhere, right? So really close. And the last division, Bible Hill Bollicade got there with 56. Bee's Knees had 52, and the Revolution had 50, and then Stars and Strikes was at 46. So only 4 points separating that division there.
Wow.
So it was the top seeds all got the bye. The 2-3 played each other. I know Beers and the Boys beat Bayers Road. I believe JD's beat the Setbacks. Scott's Woodworkings beat Fairview Avengers, and Bee's Knees beat the Revolution. In the next one, I can't remember who played who except for us. I know that Lori with 5 guys lost to Beers and the Boys, and Bible Hill Bollicade lost to Bee's Knees. I think that's what happened. So anyways, those were, that was the next round. And then the breakers, I can't remember how it all went. But the finals was Beers and the Boys against Bee's Knees, with Bee's Knees coming out on top. So that was Garrett Martin, Lucas Nickerson, and
Sarah Duffy was on that team.
One very, very loud woman. Sarah Duffy was on that team, and a couple others. So congrats to them. That was the 560. Myself, I was high average, 126.8, I think is what I finished. And I believe Melissa Sinton was the high average for the women. Thank you, Angela. Crystal Grandy. Yeah, that's the loud one, isn't it? So that was the 560. Again, tournament ran well. Everybody had a blast as usual, as everybody does. Minimal to maybe a couple nice little ball bangs. There was a nice warning put out at the start of the tournament. Anything that happens, you'll be instantly. So it wasn't loud, but a couple of them happened, and it happens. There's a lot of frustrations, especially if you're there till 11:30 when you started bowling at 9. Yes, you're right, Tim. You're right. You shouldn't take it out on the ball rack. You shouldn't.
No. Look, I'm the last one that can talk about that. Brian has seen me do some pretty friggin' stupid things.
Don't ever ask him to throw a pin down.
Getting frustrated. I think I wasn't there. I can't comment as far as the length of time that it took to bowl. But there's no way in hell it should take 14 hours to bowl 4 matches. It shouldn't. It's 12 strings.
You're right.
And actually, before you go forward, Wayne, I'm going to jump right in because I'm going to hold that question because that's a great question.
Make sure you earmark it because we always forget questions. So
I know. I'm going to write myself a note right now. And no, Nico, bowl faster is not my motto. But
the second one I'm with. Pay attention to your own lane.
Yes.
If a lot of times there was one team, and I won't point it out because you know what, by all means, bowl however you want to bowl. That's not going to affect me any because I don't get affected by how somebody bowls slow or somebody doesn't, whatever. It doesn't bother me. I have somebody running down in front of my face and I can still throw the ball. It's not going to matter to me at all. But I have people who were not getting set until the other team had thrown their ball and was basically walking back. You should be mid getting set by the time the person is getting themselves set. You shouldn't be standing there waiting for the person to throw their ball before
to be devil's advocate, there were a few times where I stand very much on the right, and I couldn't go because the person standing to my right on the left-hand lane to the other set, I would have spun into the wall after I clipped him.
and I know that, Brian, and that's not really what I'm kind of getting at, and I don't really think Calvin's getting that.
No.
I just think I think, how do I word this without sounding like an get off my lawn old man? We spend so much time worried about, oh my God, it's person on my right, it's person on my left. Don't worry about it. I'm not saying cut people off, but just be ready to go. It's like in golf. Those that golf, I'm a golfer, Brian's a golfer, understand the term ready golf. Okay?
Yeah.
Ready golf is simply put, when you're ready to hit, swing your club and hit. You don't have to wait. It's only in tournaments where you have to wait. The person furthest away from the green hits. Well, you know what? When you're out on a Sunday golf, you want to know why it takes 6 hours? It's because you got professional players who are 24 handicaps, which is not. Go. Pace of play.
Absolutely. Pace of play. You should be getting set. Usually when the person to my right or left, obviously, unless I'm bowling singles and I'm bowling by myself, because then I'll take an extra little second just to set myself. But if there's a person on my right, as soon as they start to get set, if the person on my left is not going or has already thrown their ball, I'm getting set. I've dropped my stuff and I'm getting ready. So that sometimes my ball gets down there before my opponent's ball because I'm basically right behind you and I'm throwing the ball basically at the same time.
You're not impacting anyone, Calvin, by doing that.
Right.
But I had someone ask me once if me bowling fast, if that was unfair to the person I was bowling against. And I turned it around and I said, well, if they're bowling slow, isn't that unfair against me for bowling fast?
Absolutely.
And Ian, the whole bowler on the right has the lead. It's got nothing to do with pace of play. It's just courtesy. The person on the right, if two people are ready at the same time, the person on the right goes. That's it. That's the only rule. It's not anything other than that. But okay, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole. So Calvin, I apologize. I kind of hijacked that just a little bit.
No, I'm perfectly okay with it because that's a topic of the weekend. That's a topic of everything. Like the fact that people were there till 11:30, just it
makes it won't have dinner after you get done. You can't.
Yeah,
no, you can't.
And that's the thing, and that's another thing that I want to address. And I don't know that I was told it will never change because of the lanes won't allow it. But like I think we should only have 3 matches on Saturday. Like I think if you want to start on Friday, you have 3, 3, and 2. Like we only have 8 matches instead of 9. But the lanes, we're basically taking the lanes up for the whole weekend. So they want to make as much money as possible, and into that, like, yeah, right. And so that's why the schedule will never change, but it is you basically have to resort yourself. You're having pizza for the weekend.
The scheduling. I'm not saying the scheduling needs to change because it doesn't. The pace of play needs to change.
Right, but you're still not getting out of there until 9 o'clock, 9:30. If you are on pace,
correct,
you're still not getting out of there on time, anyways.
Correct.
So, but
getting out of there at 11:30, and you got to be back there at 8:30 the next morning.
Yeah, you're basically just getting pizza and going to bed, or getting McDonald's.
Yeah, you're doing the drive-through, and
yeah,
it
is true. You basically spend you when you commit to this tournament, be prepared to spend the weekend in the bowling alley because that's what you're going to do.
So, okay, we'll get back to pace of play. I like this conversation, but I also want to talk. You had a couple other tournaments to.
Yeah, a couple other tournaments happened. The 2 9-pin tournaments. So the first inaugural, I think, Canadian 9-pin tournaments. I don't know any house that has ever done them before, but the one at Fairlanes, everybody's still talking about it. I believe next year, we used to have monthlies here at Fairlanes. I believe they're going to turn that into the monthly. It's going to be a 9-pin monthly tournament starting in September. It'll go once a month, and they'll bowl that way. Like, everybody had an absolute blast. It was so much fun, and I now understand how exciting it is to not have to throw a third ball, because every time I'd hit a shot and it wouldn't go, but I'd still leave one pin, was absolutely great. I could still just push my button. I was so excited about it, and it's so much easier that way, because every time I throw a second ball and I leave one pin, I am so mad. And I did that like 7 or 8 times on Sunday when I bowled the next day for our league, and I wanted to push my button at the second ball because I was so annoyed.
9-pin tournaments are fun. They are. I never did them. Like, we didn't do them up until the last. Where are you going, buddy?
Hey, Big Lair.
Wants to see everybody.
No, it's going up in the cat tree.
Big Lair.
We didn't do them up until, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, I guess, Brian. Would that be about right? Maybe a little longer, but
we used to screw around back in like 05, 06 in Bangor after league in bowl 9-pin, but no tournaments.
Yeah, that's kind of a new thing. They're fun. It's a good time.
Yeah. Sun Chinese. Yes, Sun Chinese is kind of the way to go when you're done bowling.
So they're gonna do more of those then?
Yeah, we might be doing one at the end of the season, kind of like end of April, just before we go into the summer and everybody starts playing ball and golfing and everything. So that was that. So that's that. We're gonna try to do one in April, and then I think they really loved it. A lot of people had so much fun. So they're going to try to do it once a month at Fairlanes. And I mean, based on the prize payouts, if they keep it that way, like first place was $800 and we only had 23 teams.
That's pretty good.
So
it is good.
Yeah, we made a couple extra $100 off the 50-50s. We were able to pay high singles. So I paid, I was the one who ran it. So I was able to pay more people. So high single for the men was at the very last string of the tournament, which was very impressive, and it even clinched his team the win. They were down 4 pins going into the last string, and Peter Wood threw 193 in the very last string. He started out strike, spare, 4-bagger, and there was no real strikes in there. It was all 9 drops.
Yep.
So it was bombs in the pocket. I think there was one actually. Sorry, I think there was one in there. And then he hit the pocket again and got the little picket fence in the left side, and didn't end up making it. And then he threw a couple more marks, and he had a chance at the 200, but he missed the spare in the 10th and couldn't get it. So really good finish for them. Robbie had 140 to go along with it, so they had a 333 between the two of them, and beat second place by over 36 pins when they were down 4 going into it.
Nice.
So yeah, so Peter was the high single at 193, and Julie Bernacci was the high woman with 180 string. So good for her. Very good. I watched it, so I was there for it. So it was good for me. I enjoyed it too. So it helped me out. We were able to pay the high team double that didn't make the money. So Marion and Eric, 322. Eric was phenomenal all day. I think he had 172 that string, or 162. He had 3 or 4 strings in the 160s, 170s. So that was great. And then, yes, first place was Pete and Robbie with a pinfall of 26.47. Second place was Julie and Calvin at a 26.11. Third place was Jill and Mel, who actually I want to give a little props to, because they went absolutely bonkers the last 4 strings. We bowled with them all day, which was so much fun watching them. And Jill and Mel went 298, 306, 304, 308, I think, their last 4 strings. Melissa, I think, had a 474 her last 3 strings, which was absolutely nuts. So they moved up to third place with 25.64 pinfall. They didn't have any handicap. They were the high team. So they had 0 handicap and finished third place. So it goes to show that 80% is more than enough for a tournament like that. You may be able to argue 90% because some of the lower teams really didn't have a chance, but
most of the ones down here don't do a handicap, but they do a cap. They'll do an average.
Right. Yeah.
So because it is hard to handicap a 9-pin.
Yeah. I mean, it worked great because everybody was getting pinned, like everybody was fine, and then it worked. It almost evened out. Like I think if I remember correctly, like third to 10th or 11th, I think we're all within maybe 50 or 60 pins. And in a 9-pin tournament, that's nothing. That's, 1/2 decent string. So a good handicap is fine, I find. But anyways, yeah, 4th place was Tanya and Serge at 25.47, Roger and Greg at 25.24, and then Charlie and Jason at 24.95. So good bowling, good fun. Again, I think they're going to make it a monthly, so hopefully everybody's able to get out who didn't and who dropped out. What a bunch of, reserve my words, annoyed. But, such is life, I guess, when people like to drop out on me. The Fredericton 9-pin singles tournament was the very next day. And some scores here, if I can zoom in a little bit. Corey Smith was the winner there. Shocker. I mean, he runs his own tournament. Of course he's going to win. 10, he had a pinfall. They only did 7 strings, so 10.58 for him. Second place was Corey Jones at 10.44. Third place was Mark at 1,008. Fourth place, only 4 pins behind, was Greg at 1,004. Luke at 998 was 5th. And 6th place was Corey Thompson at 990. So don't know how. I seen a couple people post they had a lot of fun. So again, it looks like something that really went out and kind of knocked it out of the park. So hopefully we can get some more of that. And I think if we make it some stuff where everybody can come out, I think we'll be able to fill it no problem. Because if we can kind of spread the word about it, how much fun it was, hopefully a lot more people come. So that was good. Upcoming, I don't even know now because there's so many tournaments that have just passed. Give me a quick second here if I can get the featured up. I know the 460 is coming up in April. March 2nd, there's a singles this weekend at Unbelievable. I haven't seen or heard of anything that's done. March 2nd and 3rd, there's a 2-day mixed at the Amherst and East Coast men's 580 at the Lanes in Member 2 is coming up. So that tournament is this weekend.
What do we need to remember there? You said remember to. Remember to what?
Nah, funny. March 17th is Battle of the Sexes at Avon Valley Lanes. March 16th is also the Trevor Smith Memorial. That is filled. It has been filled for as soon as the sign went up to sign up. It's a tournament that was amazing last year. We turned it into 4 bowlers instead of 3 bowlers. So this year it's going to be even more people. And it's basically a nice, fun tournament to go out and celebrate Trevor Smith's life. So if you want to come out and just enjoy what Trevor did enjoy, come on out and watch and have a few drinks. And we might have bowls of gummy worms out there to celebrate Trevor. So if you like some gummy worms, come on out. Trevor's favorite. So that'll be good. Earl McCauley is the following weekend, March 23rd. That is the singles at Fairlanes. 100% handicap on that one, based off of 125 average. So that usually gets 160 bowlers. It's usually the big tournament of the year for Fairlanes, aside from the 560, obviously. But so that's for the 23rd. And then the 23rd and 24th is the Heather Lanes Bunny Mason and Friends Memorial. So I think I can't remember how many teams are on that, but I think that was up to about 12 or 14. So
nice. Sounds like things are starting to pick up.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Down this away. First thing I want to bring up is a tournament that Danny Finn is organizing, medical bills for Brian Fournier. Most of us know Brian. Most of us have bowled against Brian. Is going through, I believe, some cancer battles, battling colon and lung cancer, if I'm not mistaken. So those of us down here in the States that have to deal with medical understand that there's some pretty hefty price tags that come with battling what he's going through. So I believe
it's full, I believe already, and they have a wait.
It is. So if I'm not mistaken, Peter Crawford came up with, brought up an idea of fundraising to help kind of cover some costs and stuff like that. So Danny reached out to corporate for them, for Millis, and they were generous enough to donate the full lanes for that tournament. So 100% of the money paid in will be split between Brian and the prize fund. They're hosting that Sunday, April 28th, 90% handicap with a $60 buy-in. Format will be similar to World Singles, except for the fact that obviously it's going to be handicapped, as well as they are going to do a top 8 get a buy in the first round. So it's going to be 5-string qualifier. They may have a second shift. So if you're still interested, I mean, that thing filled up quick. I know it. It's a great cause. Brian's a good dude. So yeah. April 28th, and Danny will let people know if there's going to be a second shift available. So that's coming up. We've got Sean Sears posted earlier today the second annual, and I am going to butcher her last name, and I apologize. Yemilkowski, Joan. My apologies. It's a Memorial Tournament. There's two separate events: Sunday, April 6th, and April 20th. That is a 3-person team round robin, $375 per team. You can have a 4-person roster, 80% handicap, 2 50-50s. It's going to be first place $2,200 based on 16 teams. So I know it had a pretty good turnout last year, so obviously they're looking to increase that turnout for this year. We've got the big one coming up, Ray's Easter Classic, coming up on Sunday, March 31st. There are a bunch of crazy Canadians coming down for that. Last I knew, had a whole bunch coming down, which is awesome. So
only one crazy one from Moncton, though.
You are?
I'm the only one.
I thought Adam was coming down.
No, he's too much of a wiener.
Well, let's give him some credit. He just had his stuff stolen. So.
He's also not that good.
Tim, what's it like to have your bowling gear stolen out of your car?
It sucks.
Yeah, especially brand new shoes. And hey, I just want to give, I don't know if anybody saw that, but I want to give a quick shout out to BJ. BJ Hamilton saw this. I believe he contacted his distributor, and they're actually going to get him a new pair of shoes.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's very cool.
Very awesome for BJ and the distributor to do that for Adam. Yeah, had his shoes for a week, tried them at the 560, got stolen the very next week out of his trunk. Yeah. So
my story ends up in a positive note is I got the bowling balls back like 14, 15, 18 years later.
After someone bought them off eBay and gave them back to Dan.
Mark Carrier buys a set of EPCO reactive U's off from eBay, gets them, sends me a snap, says, "Hey, are these yours or your sister's?" And it had my name, it had Matero on it. And I just busted out laughing. I'm like, dude, those were stolen out of my car back in 2001, 2, somewhere around there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was almost 20 years later. It's just a riot.
There's hope, Adam. There's hope.
Yeah, there's hope, Adam. You might find them.
So that is, again, the Easter Classic. $1,000 has been added to the prize fund, sponsored by Coca-Cola. Entry fee is $150. One shift, 102 bowler limit, 3 bowlers per lane. Starting time 11 a.m. There is a 60-40 chance right now that I will come down for some of it.
60-40? That's pretty high, don't you think? I think it'd be more like a 40-60.
If I go down and I drive.
55-45.
Okay.
I've never been. I'd like to go. I wanted to bowl. I can't bowl, but I'd still like to go and watch and hang out and cheer some folks on that I'd like to see win.
Are you sure you're able to stay up that late? Your old man syndrome.
Well, I'll be home. I'll be home by the time I need to go to bed. I'm not staying to the end.
Why not? What's the point?
Let's see. We have the handicap outrun the bear, which will be May 11th at Ryan's in Millis. Cost
which has like an 80 guy wait list. You could probably throw another tournament the next day, and it would be full.
Yeah, I mean there's a wait list, but if people don't pay, then you get in. So
I know.
Pay, folks. Get a hold of Danny Fenn. That is at Millis. That's coming up again May 11th. Pro Series results. Screw the Pro Series. Let's see. Just kidding. The 3-person random draw teams was this past weekend. And Corey Packard, Joey Lister, Matt Susi were the winners. Were the wieners.
That's an interesting dynamic of a team right there.
Man, doesn't Joey Lister have the most punchable face in the world? Like, don't you just want to go up to him and be like, Joey, listen, stop? And you just want to.
I love Joey.
Oh, I love him too, but his face is just.
I mean, the picture of them after they won, it's kind of a little creepy,
right? It like, yeah, it's like a hairier Adam Melanson. It's one of those you just.
And getting the silver, and I'm going to pronounce JJ's last name wrong. Torigny.
Okay.
Well, I can never tell if the G is silent. If it's a useless G or a real G, I can never tell. It's like lasagna. It's a useless G.
What? It's lasagna. It's not lasagna. It's lasagna.
We're not listening to you. You guys put extra Q's and E's and shit.
Anyway, Scotty Douglas and Aaron St. Cyr. Let's see. Shannon Scribner went batshit crazy, went 623. Great bowling for her.
That's really
well for anyone. That's really good bowling. And on the men's side, we had I believe it was Scott LaPierre at 671 were the two highs for them.
Nico, you got to calm down, man. Tim has old man syndrome. He's slow. You just have to let him get there. Nico's just jumping way ahead of you. He's just like,
he's young. Young is always quick. When you're slow, you go, you enjoy the moment a little bit. Right.
Maybe we should have Nico on. He could just run the show. We don't need to do anything. We just sit here and
you know what? Nico can be our out and about reporter.
Oh man. If we could figure out how to do that.
Oh, it's easy. It's easy. Just send him a link. He's on a cell phone and he just cell phones it in.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
There's a whole bunch more. Just obviously read, get on Candlepin chat and you can see all sorts of tournaments. Otherwise, we would take up the entire show talking about upcoming tournaments and things like that when we have other things to discuss.
Other things?
We do have other things to discuss.
What other things?
Baseball season starts soon.
What's baseball?
So excited. I gotta start doing some.
My team has an owner that's a douchebag now. I'm very sad about my team.
And Angela, it's a lot better now that you're not punching it.
It's kind of rude.
That's kind of rude.
No. So when I jammed my knee in the 560, I was bowling the next day, and I'm sitting there, and she turns around, Angela does, and she goes, "Hey, Brian," and punches me dead square in the knee and goes, "How you doing?" Brian Purdy said my face turned 6 shades of red he's never seen before.
Well, alrighty then.
Did you call a grievance on her? Because apparently when you do that to people in tournaments, they get grievance. So.
No grievance.
Oh,
I was useless anyway, so just beating a dead horse at that point.
Your name's not Paul Yedon then.
Nope. Ghost Crusader last time I checked.
Ah, okay. Shoot. Okay.
Wow. All righty then.
What do we got, Tim? What's spicy? What's ready to get spicy?
Well, the first thing I do want to Wayne's got two things. The first one, he sent an email over and asking if I'd seen this interview with Autumn Murray, which is the new. I say newish. I mean, she's owned Ellsworth Bowling Center now, or Diamanda's, for a year or two now. And the answer is yes, I have seen the interview. And 2, he wanted to know if she would ever be on the podcast. And the answer is as soon as I can get in touch with her. I'd love to have her on to talk a little bit about what she's done, what she's doing. The fact that she's another young entry into the Candlepin game.
Mm-hmm.
Just bringing some young blood in and, doing some of the things she's doing. So the answer is yes, Wayne. Eventually I would love to have her on. So let's go back to earlier.
Let's go back to the future.
So going back to the future, I'm going to start with Brian on this one. Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud. You
Sorry.
didn't talk to me
Yeah,
that
are
way,
you
but that's
okay,
okay.
man? Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy to you too.
Tito was coming to visit, but he can't get over. So,
well, he's got to use his thumbs.
I know. Brian, you want to start us off here?
What's a good pace for bowling? Depends. If I'm bowling good, I don't want it to end. If I'm bowling like shit, can we just leave now? It's a weird question.
No, I don't think so.
I guess I don't consider myself an overly slow bowler. I'm not an overly fast bowler. I don't tend to wait too long. My whole thing is about pace of bowling, like we were talking about earlier, is I look at the floor when I throw the ball. So if somebody around me decides to kick their leg at me or throw a hand, I'm not going to see it. Oh, there's Tito. And that's why I wait for the person to finish throwing the ball that's next to me. But I mean, honestly, we bowl, I think our Thursday night league in Augusta is really well paced. We start at 6:30. We bowl 5 strings, 5 boxes at a time, 3 people. And we're usually out of there by 9. So about 2.5 hours to bowl 5 strings. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of times I've been there, it was late. But then again, we also bowled. One of those was.
There's times you bowl particular teams that take longer because you're having to go get them from outside and.
Yeah.
It should be at minimum. Well, I mean, like a competitive match. Like if you're talking worlds, minimum 45 minutes a string. Maximum like an hour.
Yeah, it should be 3 hours for a
like
string match.
You should be because the funny thing is I actually when I watch bowling on YouTube, like if I'm watching myself bowl or I'm watching if I'm watching matches and I only want to see what I did because I want to see what I was doing, why my ball reacted a certain way. Like I'm weird. I'm a nerd. I study. Yeah, whatever. I usually am able to skip every 9 minutes. Every 9 minutes in a match, I'm up to bowl. So if you think every 9 minutes, 5 bowlers, that's 45 minutes. That's how long a match should be, is 45 minutes, maybe a little longer per string. So you're looking at 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and a half if you got a close match or if you got some hard shots or some pins, whatever, balls coming out. So 2.5 hours. 2 hours and 45 minutes-ish.
So I'm going to bring up the worlds for a second. When I started, and this was probably 1992 to maybe early 2000s, mid 2000s, we were out of there before 5:30 every night. Every night. We started at 9. Nothing has changed in the men's worlds.
My first year in 2005, we were eating dinner every night and had showered and been to the hotel by 6 o'clock.
So I'll tell you the 2 biggest differences. Number 1.
Shut up, Mark. No, you're not. I don't know if you're waiting for that fly or the snail to cross the lane before you throw your ball, bud, but no.
Here's the thing. Number 1, there was no back then. Again, I understand things change. There's some really positive changes that have been made. But back then, there was no ball for ball.
No.
There was bowler for bowler. Like bowler 1 started. Bowler 2 didn't get up until bowler 1 was done.
Oh, yes, true.
Okay. But there was no ball for ball. Period. End of story. When you were done, and Boudreaux is a prime example of this when he first started. If he threw a strike, he was pressing his button.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were studying your shot, he was throwing his second strike.
Absolutely.
And he was pressing his button.
Yeah.
Never interfered. There was zero interference with your bowling. There was that aspect.
Nice.
The second aspect is if match on lanes 1 and 2, let's say the matches on 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6 were done. And 2 of those teams are bowling each other on lanes 3 and 4. They started.
That's scoring, though, Tim. You can't do that with a computerized scoring now.
I understand. What I'm saying is that was a big difference back then. Is you were starting when you were ready. You weren't waiting for everybody to be done. I understand
people weren't yelling at you for grabbing your balls at the end of the match before they were done bowling their match. Like,
no, you just didn't interrupt what was going on. If someone threw their ball on the right and you're on the left, and you look and they've thrown their ball, you just grab your 4 bowling balls or 3 bowling. A lot of times we only put 3 up.
Yeah.
You didn't need 4 bowling balls. You're bowling 2 boxes. I mean, there's little things. Now, I understand that the newer scoring systems, everybody has to be done bowling before you can reset them and go on with whatever.
Yeah.
But if you have a bowling system like Bangor or Academy, it's semi-automatic. You don't have to set that up for tournament play.
No. Like we do in Can-Ams. You just one. You just
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Yep. But you don't need to even set it up. You just got to go, start next game.
Yeah.
We all keep it on paper anyway. Right? We all get a sheet of paper you got to fill out. It's not like you can just turn it in. Now in Canada, when it's in Moncton, it's on paper anyway.
Yeah.
So why are we waiting for everybody to be done before matches start again? It's not interrupting anyone. You're not bothering anyone. You want to speed up play a little bit. And I don't want to be during the Worlds. I don't want to be at the bowling alley at 7:30 at night. Been there all day. I'd like to go back, take a shower,
go back and hallway bowl with the boys.
It's not even that. I'm old now. I just want to go eat and then relax and go to bed. So
I've witnessed you fall asleep in the recliner waiting for dinner.
Yep. So you want pace of play, and there is no unearthly reason why you're at the bowling alley. And I'm going to use the 560 as an example, Calvin. If you start at 9 in the morning and I'm still there at 11:30 at night and I'm only bowling 4 3-string matches, we got some problems.
Mm-hmm.
There is no reason for that.
No.
And some of that's slow bowling.
Yeah.
Okay. Pick up your pace, folks. You don't need to be staring at an empty rack for 30 seconds.
I think probably not a big part of it, but there was like a lot of people going out to get food from the food truck and waiting for them to come back in. It was a big deal of it too.
So here's my take on that. You got 5 people bowling, and most teams had 7 or 8 bowlers. Why are the people bowling going to get food? You got 3 others that can go get food for you.
And also you can go out, order your food, and then walk back in and bowl and go back out and get your food. It's really not a big deal. It's not like they're going to throw it out. They know you ordered it. Just tell them, I'm going to go bowl and I'll be back out in like 5 or 10 minutes when the food's ready. Like, it's not difficult.
So I am deeply aware of my speed of my pace of play. I am. I know that I am and Brian will knows this, I'm a fairly fast bowler. Meaning I don't take a whole lot of time. I don't need to stare at a shot. And if I do, it's for about 5 or 10 seconds going, okay, well, I'm playing it there. It's just...
Yeah, absolutely.
So pace of play, folks. Pick it up, speed it up. There's no reason to be, spending all that time. I don't know how to say it without sounding like an ass, but I'm not looking for the tournament to end. I'm just looking for the pace of play to be fair to all bowlers.
You don't want human rain delays.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So it should not take more, period, end of story, 3 hours for a 3-string match for 5 people.
Yeah, no.
That is more than enough time.
Bar to break down or anything like that.
So moving on.
Yeah.
Question, and I'm going to start with Kelvin.
Go.
Velociraptor.
No. Paper.
Yes.
No, a ghost.
Your Mount Rushmore
Cookies.
of candlepin bowling.
Okay.
Okay. I bring this up because we had actually several people reach out.
Okay.
Based on Tony's comment. Tony Levesque made a comment on his live. I think it was Friday night. I don't know what it was. It might have been Friday night. It might have been somewhere, whatever, earlier in the week.
Okay.
And on his live, someone asked him who his Mount Rushmore of bowling was.
Who is this again, Tony?
Tony. He's got.
He's a TikTok contender.
Oh, is that Tony Levesque?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
American guy, Canadian last name.
Yeah. Yeah. French Canadian last name.
We're here. I'm ready.
We're here. So we had some folks reach out and say, "Hey, who's on your Mount Rushmore?" And I sat back and went, "Good question. We've answered it in the past, but it's been a few years." So
Brian, stop farting, man.
Relax I'm not. Yourself, it's my chair, okay? Dude.
Jesus.
It's the chair.
So, Calvin.
That's what they all say. What? Yeah, Calvin.
Mount Rushmore of bowling. We're going to go. The first one we're going to do men only, and then we'll do one for women.
Okay, Calvin.
All right.
Nailed
so we know that Mount Rushmore is going to get included.
Nailed it. Craig. Oh, am I doing this based like solely on stats or like?
It's your Mount Rushmore, Calvin. It does. You can have it any way you want.
Holbrook.
Well, Craig is Holbrook, so.
Yeah, I'm thinking last names now, which is why I went with last name first.
Okay.
Holbrook. Surrett. Maybe not like late now Surrett, like early Surrett. Hollett.
Ooh, there's one.
And even, I mean, I've never watched him bowl person. Well, sorry, I did it the Mixed Worlds. I'll put Ulster.
Okay. Brian, men first.
Milan, Ulster, Chris Sargent, Russ Nealon.
Interesting. Mine, I went with Milan, Tommy Ulster, Craig Holbrook, and this is where I had trouble trying to find a fourth because there's a lot of guys that could go on there, but I ended up going with Dan Murphy.
Okay.
So, on the women's side, Brian.
Yes.
I'll start with you.
Yes.
Let me see. Stasha, definitely. This is tough. Dot Petty. JoJo. Not really sure the last one. Last one's tough.
We'll come back to you, Calvin.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wood, Stoyles, Carroll, and I don't know who the fourth one would be. Who's won the most like states down there? Put them up there.
All right.
I'd probably go Kelly Stoyles for my fourth.
So I have Stasha Zernicki, Dot Petty, Tony Marie Baldinelli, and Kelly Stoyles. That's why I have as my 4 women. For Maine, I have Dot Petty, my sister Karen, Amanda Carroll, and Val Joy. I actually went further, and I had my Canadian, my New Hampshire, I just kind of named
it.
No wonder you work till 8 o'clock at night. You don't work during the day.
Oh, he doesn't. You should see the Snapchats I get and the messages and the memes. Like, I don't know that the guy has a job until like 8 o'clock at night when we can't get on the podcast.
So my Canadian one, I had Rob Henderson, Hal Peterson, Kansas Snow, and Bob Doothwaite.
Doothwright.
That's what I meant. And Danny Finn wanted to know why I did not have Charlie Jutras on there.
Who knows?
Us in Maine didn't get to Western Mass too much back in the day. That was another country.
Next question.
There's more?
Oh.
Next question. Yes. We had a...
How many more do you have?
Like 2, and that's it.
All right, 2 it is. Then we can be done.
Pace of play.
1 hour. We're done.
How long should it take to do a podcast?
So, and Danny, I will just tell Danny right now because I know he's listening to the show. I did have me on my Mount Rushmore, but that was just for Maine Mount Rushmore and just for Rockland, Maine. So,
man, I can't even get on that one.
I had your father on it. Does that count?
No, he's the better of us.
Let's see. So, question, and I'm going to start with Kelvin.
Yo.
In the next 10 years, in your opinion, who's in the Hall of Fame? Knowing that you have to be 50 to get in there, so you really got to look at your 40-year-old and up.
God, I don't know who the frig is not fit. I mean, somebody who should be in there is gosh damn, can't think of it. Anchor, Kings, or the team that won in '93.
Hal Peterson.
There you go. Thank you. Couldn't think of the.
Okay. Well, he's getting that, Brian. So we're gonna jump over to you.
Okay, he's Baker. Done now. No, we're good.
Okay, yeah. Back to Calvin.
Sorry, dog was barking. Somebody came home. So Hal Peterson should be there. Hollett should be there. Henderson should be there. Even Davey Somerton should be there. Like that whole team, they should go in as a team. Like honestly,
you know what I thought about was today. The only problem I have with adding Canadian bowlers is it's really hard from an individual standpoint because you guys don't bowl any individual tournaments.
No, we do all teams.
It's like all teams, which is great. I mean, I've got a whole list of folks that I think should be in the Hall of Fame, from Canada.
Yeah. The Earl McCulley, I think, is the only singles aside from like random singles tournaments that we have here. It's all teams, all doubles, all everything. So
and to answer Ian, I don't even know who the hell Billy Cook is. So I can't forget him. I don't know who he is.
Bowler out of Fredericton. He didn't really bowl much Worlds. It was more of a provincials guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. You done? Yep, he's taking a drink. Brian?
Baker definitely needs to get in. I know Baba doesn't want to go in, and he won't go in, but he needs to be in. I'm trying to think. Like it's hard because I don't know how old people are.
I know. So
just pick somebody then.
Here's what I'm going to say:
Surratt should go in.
Surratt's old, yeah. He'll get there. He'll get to 50 in the next 10
Morrison, because he'll go in another 10 years. Yeah, he's a couple years older than me.
Is he 40 yet? He is, isn't he?
Just turned 40.
Yeah.
Because I'm 38 and I'll turn 39 this year, and he's a couple years older than I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chip Carson. Chip needs to be in.
Yes. Yep. I will.
Hey.
I mean.
Oh, Big Fish Larry's Winchell. Winchell's another one. I think.
Not knowing how old people are makes it really tough to answer this question.
Yeah.
You know, I know obviously Baker's over 40. He's late 40s. I think he's a first ballot based on everything. Surratt is just turned 40. So I would say he's a first ballot. You know, I think Morrison is definitely should be in. Chris Sargent should be in.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I understand personalities come into play when you're voting people in and out of the Hall of Fame, or not out, but in, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you're voting them in. And it bugs the crap out of me that personalities come in.
You know, my argument to that is, if you want to understand, baseball has a big deal, the steroid era. They put Ty Cobb in, and he was a bigot and a racist.
Yep.
Like, and openly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, to me, I mean, Chris Sargent, you know, Carrington, Baker, Surratt, you know, Winchell, Morrison, Carson. You know, I think Sean Morrison is definitely in, should be. You know, I'd like to see him get a couple more years of, you know, getting back in. I know it's hard with his job, you know, because, you know, he didn't have a huge longevity, but he had enough, I think. You know, on the women's side, again, I think my sister should be in. I would love to see, you know, Kelly Stoyles get in. I think, you know, Amanda's going to be in. Joe Wood's going to be in, or should be in, I should say. Again, I don't know ages. I'm just, these are people that I'm thinking of off the top. And yes, Rob Henderson, Hal Peterson, Kansas Snow, you know, Chris Hollett, Davey Somerton, Sean O'Flaherty. I mean, that whole McLaughlin truck and trailer team should be in.
Yeah.
In
my eyes, I saw greatness with them.
Yeah. That was my first ever Worlds match in 05. First day, first ever match, MT&T.
Lost by over 400.
We lost the last string by 3, and you thought we won the whole tournament.
You know, it's obvious. You know, Glennis. There's so. I mean, I could go down. The problem is, and it's the same way in baseball and everything else. You have Hall of Fame, and then there's nothing wrong with the Hall of Really Good. Because if we put everyone in that I think should be in the Hall of Fame, I mean,
well, then it's the Football Hall of Fame.
Then it's a Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know, this is for Danny. If he's watching, I'm going to give you the doubles.
Well, he keeps sending you messages. He's definitely watching.
Yeah. Does he have a diaper to change?
I did want to mention this. That in that Brian Fournier charity tournament, my favorite TikTokers, the TikTok ladies, will be there. Caitlin and Carrie Ann they're phenomenal. I love their stuff, so I can't wait to watch them. And Tony, look, that's not to say Tony doesn't do good work, because he does. I watch his stuff too. I gravitate towards Caitlin and Carrie Ann because they have like my sense of humor. So, but anyway,
I can't wait for the Easter Classic. I hope they're there too, because I'll have some fun with
that. Yeah. So, wait, how about Hall of Fame in the category service to the game? Wayne, do me a favor, because we're over, so we're going to actually end for the night. Can you email me that, and we'll kind of talk about that in the next one. But that is a good question as well. So, folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. Y'all get a participation trophy. Go Oceanside Mariners. They are playing Friday night for the state Class B title. Boys and girls. Not against each other, but that would be a good game against each other.
Might be the closest game either team's had all year.
No, they've both had some good games. Yeah, they've had some close games, regardless of the fact that they blew some folks out too. But anyway, folks, thank you. Please send your questions, your comments, your concerns to rippingtherackpodcast@gmail.com. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube stuff. That would be much appreciated. And Brian, where else? Oh, disclaimer, and then where else?
Well, Tim, they can hear us on Anchor, Breaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to your podcast mediums. And as always, the views and expressions of Ripping the Rack podcast are those of Tim, Calvin, and Brian. This is a comedic show. It is meant for enjoyment. If you have an issue with it, stick it straight up your Rudy Poo candy ass.
And I will. Brian's OnlyFans is back up and running.
Big Booty Brian.
He did get some new content.
I need some WrestleMania money, guys. Come on.
Yeah, Big Booty Brian. Check him out on OnlyFans. It's highly important that you get there. Maybe you can even get some merch. Maybe he'll start some merch. Big Booty Brian.
Actually have merch. Don't.
You know? We need some Ripping the Rack merch.
Well, get on it.
You're
in charge.
All right, folks. Thank you kindly.
We should have our faces on each pin, too.
I'll let Jordan know so he can do that.